Macho John Madden, Nashville, North Carolina. I'm at the far end of what we call our smoking pit here. We come out the back of the Salvation Army shelter and smoke on the fire escape. I want to make a note about the power we always have, no matter what our circumstance, is what to focus on. And sometimes that means making something happen. Sometimes it just means awareness, but sometimes it means making something happen. Change your location, do something. Do something. And I'm needing to get out of the shelter, and the negative things people say and the loud ways they say it is driving me crazy, and I'm really wanting to find within me the strength to make it happen in the next couple of days. I really want to get out of here in the next couple of days. So I don't like stairs very much since my renal failure. I still have some weakness. But I came down the long flight of stairs there, down here, and came to the far end, and there's just a little bit of sunlight. The sun is starting to peek through, and that made me feel good. And I also knew I wanted to be by myself because I wanted to say some things that I didn't want the other people to hear. I chose this morning, when I realized it was just Justin and me out here, I chose to make my move and try to talk real with him, because he's a great guy, but we've never really talked. And he talked. He talked about his counselor. He talked about his recovery process. I shared a pretty deep thing with him. I said, I was a therapist for 20 years, but because I hadn't resolved my sex abuse memories, I never could just sit with people in their pain. I always had to do stuff to try to make them better. And that was to help him think about what he needed from his therapist. And he said, well, we're working on the relationship. I don't feel safe enough with her yet to get my deep traumas out. But I had made the point that that's where you need to go. So that was great. And then another guy that I really trust, he adopted the name Juanito earlier, and he revels in being my friend. He says we're friends. He says, you're stuck with me, I'm going to be friends with you. And he is a good guy. So he came out then and said something about, I'm not looking forward to today. So when Justin had left, I said, okay, don't go in yet. It's your chance to talk to CJ. And I said, tell me about that. You're not looking forward to today. He says, oh, I was just kidding. And he got up and looked me in the eye and says, I'm free today. Yeah, I'm free to be. And I flashed on Marlo Thomas back in, the 80s. Her record, Free to Be You and Me, which was kind of land-breaking in terms of really being yourself and exploring who you really are. So I said, wow, you're free to be, that's awesome. He says, no, I said free to pee. And I said, you remember that? Sure, of course I do. I had told him a couple weeks ago that after 6 months of renal failure and peeing into a tube, every time I can pee, I say, thank you, God. I don't need a car. I don't need a house. Every time I pee, I say, thank you, God. Because that's a freedom I have. And you remember that? And he says, sure, I always remember that. He told me, I do it too now. Every time I pee, I say, that's a freedom. I'm a free man. I thought, wow, that little bit of conversation we had is still reverberating in him. Makes me happy. Makes me happy. Every time I can have a little, what I call guerrilla psychotherapy, just a moment of conversation that's real and vulnerable, and it sticks. Yeah, that's going to keep me going all day. It is.